Hi.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here today with
Tsuneki Onishi.
Tsuneki Onishi.
Yes. I'm a Japanese politician. Well, never get elected, so.
Never get elected.
Amateur.
Don't say that.
Yeah, amateur politician.
Okay.
That's more like a true politician. Don't make money.
Not a professional. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, we met. Online the other day, and
Right.
then I had a chance to come to Tokyo, so I visited your house here, and then
Yeah.
we're shooting our first video.
Yeah.
To I don't know, for a try.
Yeah. Try it out. Little talk back and forth in English about economics in Japan,
Politics
U.S.,
in Japan,
politics,
the world, and everything.
Right.
It could be very interesting because we're entering a very interesting era now. I think a lot of things are happening. A lot of changes will happen now after COVID and maybe financial crisis and everything.
Right. Yeah.
So it could be very interesting. So you're from where?
I'm from the U.S.
U.S.
I was born.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I was born in Michigan, grew up in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I lived in the U.S. until I was 22 or 23.
Right.
And I graduated from university, and I wasn't sure what to do. And I was always interested in Japan. So my dad said, well, why don't you go to Japan for 6 months or a year and have some fun there and decide what you want to do. So I did that and came here. And originally, I only expected to stay here. Yeah, like half a year, a year.
Mm-hmm.
But about a month after I got here, I met my wife, and I fell in love with the people and the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I wanted to make this place my home.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
So you've been staying for like 20 years now? 20,
Yeah.
42,
Just 20 years, yeah.
20
this
years.
year.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Your cat was 19 years old. Where was he?
Yeah, he's around here somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. He's been your guide.
Yeah.
For like 20 years here.
For basically my whole life in Japan, he's guided me up, showed me where to go and what to do.
So what do you do now?
So I'm actually most foreigners who come to Japan initially teach English, and that's what I did at first.
Right.
But after that, I kind of got tired of teaching English and wasn't sure actually what I wanted to do. And initially, when I first came here, I planned on staying here for a little while, then going back to graduate school in the U.S. And medicine was what I was interested in. But after I got here and lived here for a while, I became a Japanese citizen, and I decided because I wanted to live here, I had to start thinking about, okay, if I'm going to have a real career here, or if I'm interested in doing something, I'm probably going to have to do it here.
Mm-hmm.
So I buckled down, and I got this crazy idea that maybe I could go and get into medical school here.
Right.
So I studied really, really hard for entrance exams.
So you had a choice to go to medical school in the States, or
I could have, yeah.
But you decided to go to medical school here in Japan, Japanese.
In Japanese.
Learning in Japanese.
Language,
And, oh, that's great.
And everything. And I learned, and I didn't know, like my major before was economics, not anything related to medicine or science.
Right.
So it was like everything I was learning from zero. Like
Japanese,
everything.
Even the terms and everything, in Japanese
Everything.
language, everything.
Absolutely everything.
That's crazy. I mean, and you passed the exam.
Yeah, I did. I passed on the first
So
try.
you're a Japanese doctor.
Yep, I'm a Japanese. I have a license.
Amazing. You must be really, really smart.
No, well, I'm one of those people that when I set my mind, when I focus on something, it's like laser focus, and I can get stuff done.
Yeah. By the way, he's speaking in English now. But he speaks very, very good Japanese, of course. So,
thank you.
Much better than my English. So.
No.
Anyway, so you work part-time here.
So what I do now is, I go to hospitals, and it's mostly like the far side of Chiba or the northern side of Saitama, or places that are maybe 2 or 3 hours by car.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of underserved hospitals where other doctors don't like to go.
So they're lacking staff now. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of places like that.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what I do. Doing that, but going forward, what I'm interested in doing is combining basically everything that I've learned, the good parts of Western medicine, which I don't think there are a whole lot, but the good parts that I've learned with kind of like spiritual and physical practices and coaching people and doing kind of like consultations and sessions here at this clinic that I'm building next to my home.
Mm-hmm.
And going forward, I wanted to pursue that, and then at the same time, kind of create a community where people can come, awesome people like you who can come and talk about interesting topics, and we can kind of learn from each other and build a new awareness going forward. That's what I really want to do.
Yeah, so you're more interested in not only Western medical skills, and you're more interested in total
Holistic wellness, exactly.
Wellness of the people.
Exactly. I think that's when you look at like the true definition of medicine. That's what real medicine is. You have to look at the person's their mental state, their spiritual state, and their physical state. You can't separate. They're all stemming from the same.
Yeah. I think we're in the big picture. We're in the era of combining Western knowledge and everything and Eastern wisdom, together, and we're kind of making a whole big planet, peacefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Japan, I think, is a very interesting place to be. I mean, we're in the middle of kind of Western culture and Eastern culture. We're right in the middle of Russia, United States, and China.
Yeah.
And a very, very interesting place to start something, to make the whole world very peaceful.
Definitely, I feel that as well. Yeah,
okay.
It's a special, I think, ability that the Japanese people have to integrate the best parts of other cultures and improve upon it and create an original, new concept or something. And I've been really attracted to that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm looking at Japanese people was I think should learn more about is that being as an individual. I mean, people are very good at being in a group, but if as an individual they're not really thinking, they're not really acting individually. But Western people are different, so maybe we should kind of put them together and maybe like we're invent something somewhere in the middle with a very iambai. You know what iambai?
Iambai, no.
So yeah, well, as you said, kind of right proportion or mixture of the culture and everything.
Yeah.
Here in Japan, and also the reason why we started this talking in English. Probably we have this Japanese subtitle. Yeah, which is maybe good for both of English culture people and the Japanese culture.
Yeah, both audiences for sure.
And maybe we should get to know each other well, because maybe we talk about how Japan has been controlled by United States. Well, only part of the United States. I wouldn't say United States people,
right? Because
people are all basically the same.
Yeah.
Russian people, Japanese people, Chinese people. They're all just like be happy. Something like happy, have a happy life.
Yeah.
And but someone who's controlling them or have different ideas maybe.
Right.
So I think the best thing is to make friends within each country. I mean, Japanese friends, American friend, Russian friend, Chinese friend, and then when we get to know each other and we're no enemies, I think world peace is very around the corner now.
Oh yeah, well, it's a natural product of just this kind of interaction, like you said. I mean, everybody wants the same thing. They want to be able to live the same way.
So we share the kind of world view. I mean, how we see the world. I mean, we're watching from different window, from Japan, from the States. Well, you've been here too long.
True. Yeah, I've lost a lot of that.
Yeah, because people who are maybe American people could see this footage or movie, and then I don't know how they see the world, but by us providing our point of view.
Yeah.
Your point of view is very interesting because you've been here for so long, and you know a lot of people here and culture here,
Right.
and also you know the American culture and everything. So so as I said, this country has been controlled by someone in the States for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, the people in the States know about it, but if
I don't think, from my own experience, like when I was learning about economics before in college in the States, and just, as an ordinary everyday person, I don't think that's something that most people are aware of. It's there might be little bits and pieces, but in terms of who pulls the levers and the switches and stuff behind the scenes, it's not something that most people are aware of.
Yeah, but they know that we're in the war for like 80 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that's obviously common
Yeah,
knowledge.
obviously, yeah.
But in terms of after that, it's okay. Basically, what it boils down to is Japan and Germany lost World War II, and then so they basically turned things around, rebuilt their economy. They had really good time in the 80s, crashed in the early 90s, and now they've just kind of been there ever since. And that's the extent of what most people know.
Okay, yeah.
Very limited, yeah.
So yeah, we still have like a lot of American bases here in Japan. 70 more than 70% is in Okinawa.
Right. Okay. How many soldiers are there? It's like
I don't know. I checked it out.
Tens of thousands. I think I want to say like 50,000. It's a huge number.
Huge number, and I checked it out. I mean, in the subtitles.
Yeah, we'll put the proper figures. Yeah.
Yeah, and still like a huge area around Tokyo. I mean,
the airspace,
airspace in the Yokotakuiki, a very huge airspace. From it covers most of the Tokyo, Kanagawa, and Saitama, and Gunma, and it covers all the way up to Niigata. Huge airspace is controlled by United Air Forces.
Right.
And no Japanese private airplane cannot get in without permission.
Right.
Japanese private airplanes have to go around it. It's pretty much a good time loss.
It's significant. Yeah.
And not only that, of course, above Okinawa, they have so many bases in Okinawa, and still a lot of bases here in Japan. And because of the U.S.-Japan security treaty, we had it for a long time, and I would say we've been pretty much controlled by basically CIAs.
Oh, okay.
We know that very influential people like Kishi Nobusuke, who was the CIA agent, and they had the CIA coordinate, and his grandson is Prime Minister Abe.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So Mr. Kishi formed LDP, Jimito, Liberal DP, Democratic Party, in 1955.
Right.
And basically controlled by CIA.
So it's either directly or indirectly,
Yeah, because they've been paying money through Kishi Nobusuke to LDP.
Okay.
To pass this Japan and U.S. security treaty.
What year was that again?
1955 was the year when LDP was formed. And the treaty was 1960 something.
Okay. So it was after that.
Yeah, after that. And we still have this Nichibei Godo Inkai, which is like a committee with the second highest
command.
person in command in our U.S. Army, our military commander.
Okay. The second
Commander in
highest
chief,
ranking.
yeah,
Okay.
is the top of this committee, and then Japanese side is like all these bureaucrats in Japanese side, and then they basically taking orders from U.S. commanders.
So the U.S. commanders dictate basically what.
Yeah, because it started in the era of occupation
All right.
after the war,
Okay.
and then it still goes on now. So it's been like 78, 79 years after the war, but still this committee is there, and then they have this a secret meeting every twice in a month.
Twice in a month?
Once in a month.
They have this?
They still have this, and then they never reported what's been discussed and what's been decided. It's just a black box.
Okay.
We still have that.
Now, did they discuss, I imagine, political matters, economic matters, policy matters?
We don't know.
Okay, I mean, always
Because
black
the
box.
Japanese bureaucrats from all agencies are in the meeting, so it covers everything.
Okay.
So
it's
it basically,
comprehensive.
yeah, basically, Chi Kyote is based on Nichibe Chi Kyote, which is part of the Japan and U.S. Security Treaty.
Japan, U.S.
Yeah, status of
Forces
forces
Agreement.
basically about it talks about the status of the U.S. forces here in Japan. It's
So they have carte blanche access to do whatever.
right. So
Okay.
that's been ordered from after the war. That's a place where American military forces can tell Japanese bureaucrats to do
Whatever they want. Okay.
So it still goes on, and we never know what's being discussed, what's being decided. So we don't know.
Wow.
We don't know, but it's still there.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's that military aspect, and I guess you could say the intelligence aspect. What about on the private sector side, the players that dictate on a global level, kind of what direction or influence what direction Japan's moving in, or how they approach Japan?
private section. I mean, there's what do you call that? Submission by the government of Japan to the government of the United States regarding regulatory.
Issues or something?
Yeah, well,
Regulatory reform and competition policy. Okay.
it was changed to the name, to the recommendations by the first was a submission, and then it was changed to the recommendations by the
Oh, here it
government
is. It
of
says,
Japan.
yeah, right here.
Yeah,
Recommendations from the government.
yeah, it got stronger. I guess recommendation means the basically it says this is what Japan
It's supposed
should
to do. Okay.
supposed to do, and what we are also sending our recommendations to the states, but it's been fully ignored. But
Brushed off, yeah.
yeah, but we've been kind of doing exactly what's being told, what they're telling us to do.
Wow.
So yeah, basically they are telling us to privatize our infrastructure or
To change laws. These
Change
these
laws.
are dictated, or these are recommended by
by
the U.S.
The U.S. And,
wow, I
or,
had no idea. Making
right.
changes. So, for example, some of these things are restrictions, lifting restrictions on stocks.
Yeah.
Let's see, building codes.
Yes.
Labor standards.
Right.
Let's see,
It's the
health code or health insurance system. Privatization of the
accounting
postal
system
service,
as well.
accounting system.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a big one in 2000. And privatization of public roads.
And the Daitenho means we used to have a law to limit big stores to be built in a local area.
Oh,
And
yeah.
since they lifted that limitation, all the small stores has been gone.
So you're basically it's the same problem that the U.S. has had with the Walmart phenomenon,
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
Walmarts will appear in a small town and just basically destroy
Right,
local
yeah.
businesses. The same kind of thing. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they're doing that for the worldwide, I guess.
And this is amazing. So these are all recommendations. That
Those
when
are
they
recommendations
buy-
they
Wow.
put on us, and then we simply just obeyed it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say this is the U.S. government wanted. It's more like someone who's behind it. I mean, governments are not purely moved by people, and of course they have election and everything, but actually, who's controlling those governments are more like stockholders, or this is capitalism. So
Yeah, huge corporations.
yeah, are basically moving those people in the states.
Right. And
you know,
they're
so
the ones.
they
So
call it
they're
deep states.
yeah. So they're the ones behind promoting these
Right,
policies.
right.
Didn't realize it was influenced to this degree. These changes in policy and laws.
Mm.
It's pretty significant.
So I wouldn't say it's a U.S. problem. It's our problem too, because we're the one we're obeying those orders. We're the one we're not independent. Independence is something someone gives you. Independence you have to earn yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing we have to really cope with.
My question, I wonder when I hear these things and I hear about the extent of the influence of other governments, what would happen if there was a soft pushback? Like, one example that I kind of feel might have been like a soft pushback was this thing that happened just a few days ago, where the Bank of Japan increased interest rates to 0.25%. That seems like a very uncharacteristic, un-Japanese type move in terms of the government. Now, I don't know, of course, the bigger picture behind that, but I think that catching everyone off guard because they assumed, the rates would be maintained, they would maintain their policy, and without warning, they suddenly they did that. So it seems to me like a soft pushback, and that was able to cause this much of a hiccup.
It's more like a marionette.
A marionette
type thing. It was not even a pushback. It's like it was not against their will. It's like for their will.
For their will.
Yeah, because if they raise interest rate, what happened is that Japanese banks have so much reserves in BOJ, and in Abe administration, they used to put minus interest rate on like 500 trillion yen reserve. The Japanese private banks had in BOJ. So if they put minus 0.1% minus interest rate, that means banks lose money, just putting money in there.
Right.
And then they started raising the money just recently. In March this year, this Kishida administration raised interest rate by 0.2%, which means minus 0.1% to plus 0.1%, which means on 500 trillion yen reserve, they get about a 1 trillion yen more. Japanese banks earn 1 trillion yen more in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
That's good for stockholders of Japanese banks.
Yeah.
And more than 30% of stockholders are foreign, foreign people.
Foreign entities.
Foreign entities, yeah. Especially like a big stockholders like BlackRock, Vanguard, these people.
Right.
So they make more money by, the BOJ raising interest rate.
So they're making more money either way.
Either way, yeah. To me, like Kishida administration is more and more like a marionette for those people.
A puppet, right?
Puppet, yeah.
Okay. So there really hasn't been any historical kind of pushback against this recommendation policy kind of thing.
No, I mean, not that I know. I mean,
so it's just been.
I've been in this country for only 60 years now, but I've never seen anything like that. And to me, like it's getting worse and worse. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, more Japanese prime ministers or more like patriots before, but right now it looks completely different now. For example, one of the famous Prime Minister Tanaka, which is prosecuted by Rakido incident. We call it Rakido jiken. Someone said like I don't know who was Rakido, or someone said that they gave 3 billion yen to Japanese politicians.
Wow.
So it was revealed in the U.S. Congress, and then they started to find out who got this 3 billion yen. And Prime Minister Tanaka was there's two routes to pay that money from the states. One route was the Marubeni route, which is Marubeni company got that money, and that handed the money to the Prime Minister Tanaka. They said there's no proof, concrete proof, but he was prosecuted, and he was sentenced with some few years
prison time.
And there's another route which is called Kodama route. There's a person whose name was Yoshio Kodama, who used to be a fixer in the political world, and this guy was also a CIA agent.
Oh.
By the way, and he was once after the war in a Sugamo prison as a law crime, but he was actually released, like the Mr. Kishi, and he was released because he was the CIA agent, and this Mr. Kodama was a CIA agent. He was released too, and then he got the money, more than 2 billion yen, and passed it to. People say it was the former Prime Minister Nakasone, who was actually the one who agreed on this Plaza Accord in 1985. Yeah, very conveniently, the reason why Nakasone was not prosecuted was that this Mr. Kodama was supposed to testify in Japanese diet, and he had a stroke in that morning of
the day he was supposed to testify. Ooh, that's a little convenient.
Yeah, and Nakasone was not prosecuted.
And there was no one to testify, so he was let free. Wow.
By the way, so this Mr. Tanaka was the one who reopened the relation with China in 1972. Mr. Tanaka also he rejected the sanction against was like a fourth Middle East war. I think it was against Iran or something. As opposed to U.S. suggestion, he rejected the sanction on Iran or something, and then in the end he was removed with this incident of Rakido. What I'm saying is that before we had more Japanese prime minister who are more patriotic, as opposed to whatever the United States or someone behind want them to do.
Right. So now they're basically just a bunch of yes men.
Now, yeah, it seems to me.
Okay. It's starting to concern Japanese people on a regular people recently is ownership of Japanese assets by foreign entities, and specifically like public utilities and infrastructure and stuff like that. That's something that before it was I don't think there's very much of it, but in recent years, it's really started to increase.
Yeah, I mean, everything started in 1980s worldwide, right? I mean, when Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan started privatizing everything with a name under the name of like neoliberalism. It's nothing liberal, but
right.
they started selling everything to private sector, and then I mean we also started to privatize our infrastructure. Like NTT used to be a Denshin Denwa Kosha, and JR was Kokutetsu, and we started privatize everything. And then right now, after the privatization, we started selling our infrastructure to foreign companies now. Once it was like sold to Japanese owners, but now it's being sold to foreign companies.
Especially things like they're talking about the water supply. You see a lot of foreign entities coming in and purchasing rural water supplies, and I know in Tokyo here we talked about earlier that the subway system is they're welcoming, especially with the currency. Particularly people are coming buying whatever they can.
There are no restriction at all. I mean, we're selling our lands and lands which have water supplies to. We're selling everything. Something's really wrong here now.
Right.
We've been controlled by foreign companies for some time, and before that, we've been controlled by, I wouldn't say United States, but it's someone who's moving United States.
Right, a large DS.
So deep states, and Well, I think this is a time that it's not all about country by country. I mean, it's about people against someone who's trying to control people.
Yeah.
So we have to start the war against them, not other people in other country. So the reason why we started making this video is that we're friends basically. I mean, all people and all citizens are our friends. They're trying to make us believe that Russia is enemy, or China is enemy. But people in China and people in Russia are all the same.
Yeah.
So we should see more clearly in what happens in real life. I mean, we're not really fighting at all.
I mean, you realize just interacting with people on an everyday basis, people aren't as polarized as you would be led to believe in the media. And when I visited the U.S., visited my family back in February, if you watch the things that they portray on TV and the mass media about the U.S., I mean, red versus blue, it's so polarized. They make it look like at the drop of a dime, the whole country could erupt into civil war. But when you actually go there and you talk to people who work at restaurants, who work at gas stations, just normal, regular people, on average, most people just want to be peaceful, like you said.
So since you said the red and blue states, I mean, what do you think of this the upcoming the presidential race?
I think, let's see, it's of course it's very polarized. Regardless of the outcome, I think people have to, rather than putting their faith in a leader or an institution, I think people individually on a personal level have to take responsibility and wake up.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think too.
Because people are being led to root for their team leader. Okay, if Trump wins or if Harris wins or whatever. I mean, regardless of which wins, the people don't win. You know what I mean? And one might be better than the other superficially, but the main problem is people, they are entrusting their own sovereignty into other people, and they put too much value on that. Whereas I think they have to realize that they are empowered, and they have to wake up and use that power. If they want to create a society of peace, of paradise, realize that they have that power within themselves and start acting on it.
Yeah. But I mean, whatever happens on the surface is it's just happening, and you don't put too much mind to it. You put your mind on your own personal everyday life. I mean, what's really you're facing yourself, and that's the more important thing. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Each of us, each human being is a microcosm of the universe.
Yeah.
When we change ourselves, we change the outside world.
Yeah.
And it's not
Exactly.
a woo-woo spiritual belief. It's true. It's literally how the world's made. And when you have enough people that believe that and they act on that, then the external world flips completely.
Right. Yeah.
To reflect that.
I think what we're responsible for as a Japanese people, we're very good at thinking other people, but we think too less about ourselves. I would tell Japanese people to be more selfish. They're really having trouble with. They read too much air. Very strange expression we have in Japanese language is read the air.
Read the air, yeah. In English, you'd say like read the room or something like that.
They should realize what they have in their mind. And if they do that, if people here in Japan, I think we can create a pretty much peaceful world, a peaceful universe around ourselves. So
I agree, yeah.
For that, I mean, we should not be dependent on the states or someone who's behind this state, deep state. We own so much of bonds and treasuries. I don't know how many people in the States know about this, but we're pretty much in different direction in terms of the trades and everything. We've been making so much surplus for like more than 30 years, and the United States has been losing money on trades for like 50 years. Huge deficit states have.
Right.
The amount is like, we have like $3.5 trillion worth of net asset because of this trade surplus, as compared to the states have like, $17 trillion worth of deficit. Do people know about this? I mean,
no, most
States?
people, I mean, they hear, that there's a trade deficit, but the average person don't really care. It's not something that on an everyday level that really comes into play for people's lives, livelihood.
Yeah, because even if, historically, even if they accumulate so much trade deficit, they can borrow money, no problem, because everyone needed dollar as a reserve, because this trade system since 1945, after World War II, we've been trading with dollars worldwide, so everyone needs dollars. So even if they earn dollar cash doesn't create any money, but if U.S. government issue U.S. bonds with a higher interest rate, they're happy to buy U.S. bonds instead of holding U.S. dollar cash.
Sure.
So if they buy U.S. bonds, which means U.S. dollar cash comes back to the States, so they can borrow money as much as they want. So they don't really care. If the whole world keeps trading
in dollars.
But nowadays, BRICS started to say we're not going to trade in U.S. dollars. Iran and
Saudi Arabia
joined the BRICS,
right.
And then countries in ASEAN, like Asia countries, they also say they're going to trade with their own currencies,
right.
And then the whole global South is going against the United States, and Saudi Arabia decided to sell their petrol.
Not in dollars.
Yeah, not in dollars, euro, and everything else. Now the United States cannot finance their debts now because people are not using dollars, people are not having dollars, and there's no reason to buy U.S. bonds anymore.
The system's starting to crack.
Yeah. Very rapidly now. If you think about that situation, I mean, what's happening in Middle East, or maybe what could happen in China or Taiwan, could be explained. Say like if there's some problem with Taiwan, Japan and U.S. involved in it. Basically, U.S. is far away anyway, so
Right.
Japan is very close to Taiwan, and something happened with Taiwan and China. We're right in the middle, and because of this, we have this U.S.-Japan security treaty. If something happens, we're right in the middle of the war, and then it's more involved with us. We're in the position to pay for that war, so that means we have the biggest surplus. 1/3 of it held by U.S. bonds.
Right, enormous amount of money.
Yeah. If we pay that war, that means we're paying a lot of dollars to the States.
Oh yeah.
So that's one way to get that money back for the United States.
They have it set up so it goes around and comes back
if you look at the money situation, like trade surplus and trade deficit, you can see things differently. What made this trade deficit for the states is very clear. One thing I would like people in the states to know: what made this U.S. deficit as it is just simply military spending.
Exactly. It's something that's of course mentioned when you look at a chart that says a breakdown of the spending, but it's not something you actually make a connection with. Like, you don't realize how much money it is. When you look at how much spending, how exponentially it's increased over the last 20 or 30 years, you realize this is a business generating quite a bit of money.
Also related to how the United States has been being financed in the past, because they're losing so much in trade, and they've been printing so much money to pay for their import for such a long time. The United States has like $17 trillion worth of a deficit by printing money and giving it to other countries. The only reason why the other countries had US dollars is that without US dollar you can't import.
Right. Transaction currency. Yeah.
Right. Also petrodollar, which means we have to have dollars to import.
Transact in petroleum. Oil.
Yeah, oil. All the other countries have US dollar. US dollar cash cannot generate any money, so they issued US bonds with a high interest rate to sell those bonds to those countries who have dollar reserves. Of course, they have all dollar reserves. They need that to import. By doing that, instead of them with dollar to buy something in the States, like U.S. company or
real
land,
assets, yeah.
real assets, they buy U.S. bonds, which is just IOU, and then the actual cash comes back to the States. But people in the world started to say it's not fair. Our oil is ours. We don't sell our oil in US dollar with our own currency. One famous incident was that in 2000, Saddam Hussein and Iraqi said that we're not going to sell our oil in dollar. We were selling our oil in euro.
And then, interesting.
After that, what happened was what President Bush started said, Iraqi has
weapons of mass destruction,
Right, so we have to defend the world in early stages. And then he went to Iraqi. Well, basically killed like 500,000 people in Iraq. And then find out there's no mass destruction weapon at all. And then in Libya, Gaddafi, he wanted to make African currency dinar backed by gold. And he wanted to sell their oil in dinar. And then he was took out.
Same way.
Yeah, a few years later, without any trial or anything. Just special forces just went into Libya and then killed him. So these are the things which are happening. Surface story, it was because they're dictators and they're bad people. We have to save the world, defend the world. But is that a real story or not? I mean, we have to look inside and what's happening really.
Right.
Especially follow the money, they always say.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, thinking for yourself, like gathering information and using your own experience and your own knowledge, not necessarily following what you're being told, but to think for yourself.
Especially the mass media are basically saying the same thing always. The other day when Trump and Biden was
the debate,
we all saw that Biden's pretty old.
It was a train wreck.
But on the next day or something, all the mass media is basically saying the same thing. He's shot with attack.
Yeah, they're defending. I
mean, same expression.
Completely lockstep. Yeah.
They always say threat to the democracy or something. Same phrase everywhere. If you like to buy that or not, you have to decide yourself. So I mean, I think I like people in the States. I mean, I have a lot of friends in there. I love their music, I love their culture, movies and everything. I know there are a lot of talented people and good people there. But what made their own trade deficit is like put too much of their talented people or like effort into this war business. So that's why you have to borrow that money to pay for that. I mean, you can create those values if you don't put your precious asset, precious people's effort into war business. Instead, if they use it real production, they don't have to borrow any money. I think a lot of people's time and effort are lost into this stupid activity.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Talking, a lot of interesting insights and information, and we hope everyone you can learn from this, and this hopefully provides you with some new information, new perspective, kind of open your mind, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I thought I should be more prepared for this.
No, I think it was a great.
Okay, it was interesting.
Yeah.
The first step, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, first step.
Definitely.
Start
All right.
for summer. Okay, thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Talk to you later. Yeah.
Yeah.